Time is now 11:30. Time for part 3 of our conversation about our financial arm of the organization. Our 11:30 session is financial operations, and we're joined by our same group, and we have the addition of Anne-Marie Deegan. And for those of you who have the book, we are on page 110. And so if you want to start with the activity indicators, and then we can move into the numbers.
Yeah, hello again. So Mike Canizero, Commissioner of Finance, and here with the first Deputy Commissioner of Finance, Anne-Marie Deegan, who, for all intents and purposes, oversees the Financial Operations Department. So I'm going to go through the payroll activity indicators here, and I think we did try to change these a little bit from last year just to...
Mike, just to make
Yes.
sure, 110, right?
Yep, 110.
All right, thank you.
So the first major functions are that the payroll distribution, payroll deductions and retirement, and additional payroll, administrative functions. So, this is payments to employee. This is the number of, times we have to key into AS400 for an employee. Maintenance changes would be, this is an employee changing a department or changing a rate of pay, or you have to add their step increases going from 5 to 6. A number of deductions that we're processing as well as far as third-party payments. So this is union dues, garnishments, there's additional insurance. We do a number of administrative functions due to the New York State retirement. So that's our pension program. So, we're submitting reports to them, processing arrears, processing deductions, and then just some of the additional reporting that we're doing. We're mandated to file a state and New York State quarterly payroll tax return, as well as make those payments. And then obviously we're issuing W-2s to our employees, which typically we have about 2,500 to 2,600 employees that we need to issue a W-2 for. So now I will hand off management of all projects to Anne-Marie.
Okay. Hit pause, whatever. You made a lot of sports analogies yesterday.
Okay.
I appreciated it. When we have the timekeeping up and running, will any of these indicators change?
Yeah, so timekeeping, I think the number of fields keyed for an employee pay, we would hope that falls to ideally 0. I'm sure it won't be 0, but really that function goes away since now we have, information from SWC, information from telestaff or sworn police and fire that will be integrated with AS400. So as far as, paper timesheets being typed into AS400 to pay an employee, that function goes away because of that integration. So I think we are close there. It's difficult to say that that's going to happen in, the next 4 to 5 months. I think by the end of the year, we hope that that's up and running. So I guess the anticipated, if you want to cut that in half, assuming, successful rollout of timekeeping.
And that 88,000 keyed entries, big number. How much time is that? Like what are we actually looking at?
So, we have 5 dedicated payroll individuals in financial operations. They're all working 36 plus hours a week. And then, so I would say this is specific to those 5 individuals. I mean, as far as the departmental, let's use the title payroll aid, this would be your secretaries, your account clerks that are compiling timesheets. None of that information would be on here as far as what is that departmental payroll, that indirect resource that's compiling timesheets, putting together Excel files for payroll to process payroll. That information is not included in these activity indicators.
How many, are all these positions filled right now?
Yes.
22.
I think I have one that's not technically filled yet.
But it's on its way. Okay.
Yeah, our AP supervisor technically would be vacant right now, but ideally we will be promoting a claims examiner to that position. So really that change.
What position?
Accounts payable supervisor. So that was the one that's got the asterisk next to it, the 0.43. Due to the budget cut that happened in the 25 budget for FinOps, we had to reduce that position to, it wasn't a full year position. So now we're proposing a full year of that position, and this will be promoting really that examiner of claims 2 into that role. So you can see we're asking for another examiner of claims, so that number jumps from 1 to 2. But then the claims examiner 2, that goes to 0, because ideally we would promote that individual into the AP supervisor role. Jumping ahead.
So out of contractual services, who gets paid out of here from there?
That's our SURA.
No, sir, but who?
Two of
Two
the
payroll
payroll.
clerks.
Sorry,
Two payroll people.
2 payroll people.
Yep.
Payroll supervisors?
Nope, just payroll clerks.
So they'll be included in the SURA budget.
Thank you.
I'm looking at the purple box. Does it matter which two? It doesn't.
Say that again?
It doesn't matter which two. Does it have any implication?
For the contract.
For the
For the
Sarah
people?
funding, yeah, no.
No,
Could-
really.
yeah.
Be okay to move
What
forward?
is this?
They took a little bit of a cut last year and they filled that.
All set with the payroll
Yeah.
numbers? Okay. Moving on to management of all projects. This is what a lot of our fiscal officers and admin officers do. So they are monitoring and reviewing all of these funds. That's capital projects, grant projects, operational department, operational accounts, the whole gamut. So this is kind of the breakdown of how many of those various funds we have. Then we move into accounts payable. This is pretty much the part of the team that is either entering in requisitions and vouchers directly into PeopleSoft, and then on the back end, they're actually getting checks out the door to all of those vendors. Then we have management of financial systems. So I have a person right now who is helping us with the payroll project, but also is looking at other ways to improve our process. So she was able to put together a document that walks through step by step how to get a pay cycle out. She's working on some other things as well. Just get those things documented, and then I have a whole lineup of stuff that I'm hoping I can get her involved in. And then we're in supervision.
In terms of the Fund 8, the ARPA, at the end of the year, we pulled all of the remaining ARPA funding into our general fund. And so the federal reporting requirement is gone.
Yep.
But we still have, I forget how many millions of dollars.
ARPA project completion.
money.
And we have commitments made.
Yeah.
In terms of the project management, why does that go away if we still have commitments made to?
It's technically
to
just
spend
not on that fund, so I was just breaking it down by fund. So that's part of the operating budget now. It's a
Got it.
special objects.
it? Okay, thank you.
And you guys just, does anybody from API on your team?
Not directly.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we've utilized API, so I think right now, one of the projects we have ongoing is improving our CHIPS reimbursement. So that's, again, really anything interdepartmental. At that point, we would get API involved. So this, we've had numerous meetings with finance, DPW, and API as far as how do we streamline that process and how do we make sure we're maximizing that claim. So that's been an ongoing project. I think I just checked my email. I had another meeting pop up for it, I think next week or later this week.
Flat budget.
Right, yep. And then we flip over to our positions. As Mike pointed out, this is relatively flat. We did remove the Director of Financial Operations. That basically shifted over to the BOA budget for the Deputy Commissioner that Mike was talking about. And then it's just a shuffle of staff. So like you have a travel coordinator. That person is really in an accountant clerk 2 position or 3 position now, so that when that change happens, it's a flat change. The same with the AP supervisor, which we just talked about. And then we have a shift from admin assistant to admin analyst, just to give us a little bit more capacity. So that's the other shift.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of these personnel changes too are just, we want to be able to promote people. You know, someone doesn't want to be in an account clerk 3 role for a decade. They want to have the chance of promotion. So I think a good example of that, as you can see, the admin assistant, we went from 4 to 3, but then up top, admin officer, which is a higher role, we went from 1 to 2. So that was, you know, we had an admin assistant that was performing in a department. Thought they were doing a good job. We want to, you know, be able to offer them promotion. So just as far as some of those shifts in the titles.
And then as far as the budget, the only big change is that our office supplies moved over to the BOA line. Other than that, we're pretty flat there.
It was a $1,500 change. So big change.
Great, thank you. And
Thank
so
you.
with that, just want to, you know, Commissioner, thank you for being here for a couple hours, and Anne Marie, appreciate your time. So we will adjourn this meeting, and we've got nothing else on the calendar till tomorrow.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you.
Thank you.